Hi, I'm Diane Dressback, and I'm here with Kimberly, and we are interviewing Lindy Schneider. And Lindy wrote a chapter for the compilation book From Us for You, Inspiring Stories of Healing, Growth, and Transformation. Welcome, Lindy.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So I met you through your son, Kevin, because Kevin, when you guys lived in Arizona, Kevin was a co-lead in our feature film Paranoia. And I think that's how that must have been the connection on how I first found out about you. And I know that you're doing all kinds of interesting things and writing and doing lots of things. So why don't you give us a little introduction to yourself?
Well, I am an author and I an illustrator. Where my son got his acting ability was not from me. But yeah, I right now I'm working with college students, helping them launch their careers by the decisions that they make while they're in college. So I've written some books about that and written a lot of stories for Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Can you tell us a little bit, can you give us an elevator pitch of your particular chapter? Just a snippet.
Yes, I wrote Righting Wrongs, and it talks about people do things that are just wrong. People say things that are just wrong and can sometimes be very funny. But sometimes things happen that are just wrong. And this was kind of an aha moment of how I could deal with some of those things with both laughter and healing.
So what was the pivotal moment for you to come to this conclusion that you wrote about? Was there something particular that struck you for that?
Yes, without giving anything away, it was when I met one of the people that I had impacted, not even realizing that this tiny little thing I had done gave him the courage to keep going in a very difficult situation for him. So
does that mean you're a mentor then?
Boy, I more often than I realize, yes. I mentor.
Yeah, you need to, because we need mentors in the world today. We're being inundated with so much information that isn't helpful. So to mentor and go deep with someone and impact them like you did, that's a journey for both you and the person that you're helping.
And Lindy, talk a little bit about I know that you've written many books, and I think it was the last one or the one before, trying to help college students. And I know that you actually interviewed me for that book, which was really nice. Thank you for that. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your work with the college kids and what you're hoping to help them achieve?
Well, basically, I think that so many kids start out in school, they think that college is going to be magic for them. They get that piece of paper that they get their degree and they frame their diploma and put it on the wall, and the world is going to come running to them to hire them. And as you and I know, that's just not the case. But there are specific things that you can do while you're in college that can make all the difference. And the reason I interviewed you, Diane, I loved your story. There are things that can happen while you're in college that will discourage students. If you can take what happens and turn it to an aha moment, kind of like what your book is all about, this From Us for You, that same thing, those aha moments, that it's not the circumstances that are going to make or break you. It's your reaction to those circumstances. And that's critical. That's absolutely critical. So
what is the one bit of advice that you give to these college students to persuade them from looking at the piece of paper in the frame to looking over here to what reality is? What is that? What does that subject look like?
well, basically, in a very brief nutshell, what I teach college kids to do is to think like a superhero. They need to leap tall buildings, walk through walls, and become fireproof. And by that, I mean, when you leap tall buildings, you are getting the advice and the leadership and the mentorship from people who are further along than you. Walking through walls, get off campus, get into the community to meet the people that will actually be hiring you, and become fireproof. That is, build your alliances so that you're never without a good job or a good friend.
Wow, that is great. And I've never heard that before. And I like the 3 pieces of advice because it's the triangle. So there's no beginning, no end. And you can take that into your adult life.
Well, my husband and I do a lot of coaching of college kids, and we've had so many adults tell us, I wish I'd known this when I was in college. Can you coach me? And we have coached a number of, we don't like to do that. We tend to coach young adults, but even those that have graduated college are desperate for this information because they're just not sure how to launch.
And so how did you learn your information to be able to share it? Through experience or?
Yes, I worked as a college advisor for many, many years. And then I began talking to people who, like Diane, have had unique college experiences that people can learn from. And the book is College Secrets of Highly Successful People who have become highly successful in their fields. I researched them and talked to them and interviewed them and said, how did you get there? What happened specifically in college? Because so often they come just as lost as the next college kid, or as determined and prideful as the next kid, and get knocked down and have to find their way.
And I think too, in your book is, some of the experiences were very positive experience, things that happened and they excelled. And then there were other situations, such as my situation, that wasn't a positive situation, but yet I learned from that. And, it just took me a long time to shake it off. So, we all learn from good and bad and in different situations. So
what would you say what was the greatest lesson you think you've learned through this process for you personally?
For me personally, what is important in your life? You tend to think it's going to be the big awards or the big milestones that you hit. Those are the really important things. And I feel like for myself, it's not the circumstances, but it's the connections with people, the word that someone spoke to you that 20 years later, you remember that moment. The awards are great, the accolades are great, but it's those moments when you connect with somebody and they make a difference in your life, or you make a difference in theirs, that you hold on to for life. I think that's the big thing.
It is the big thing. And with your process that you're going through right now, helping everyone and mentoring and writing books and writing chapters, where do you see your life going in 5 years from now?
Oh boy, that's a big one.
I know.
Yeah.
And you can take your time, but it can be a personal, or it can be earthly, or whatever. You want to see something in 5 years.
I envision my husband and I sitting in an audience watching a musical that he and I have written, and watching it being
Oh,
performed on stage. And we're working on that. We have been for a while, but it always takes back, the back burner. But that's something, that's a personal project that we're excited about. And so,
Well,
yeah, in 4 years, I hope it's on stage.
no, you know it's going to be on stage because now I want to see it.
Wonderful. So are you guys writing all the music and everything to it as well? Do you have kind of the music side of things?
He is a lyricist, and Tom has won awards writing music and things like that, writing the lyrics. And I would be writing the book for the musical. And we need a composer. We had a composer for a short amount of time. And and it wasn't a good fit. So we're still looking for a composer. So if you know a composer out there, let me know.
Okay. That's exciting. Wow. That's something it's so fun doing these interviews because you learn all of these, like little nuggets like that. Like I had no idea about that. So one of the questions that we're asking all of the authors is that we all learn from failures, and certainly we all have them. And so can you think of one failure that you've had in your life that you learned a profound lesson that you could share that would help other people as well?
Does it have to be just one failure? I have a lot of them I could talk about.
Just one.
Just one. I think about right now, there are a lot of people losing their jobs because of situations and beyond their control. And I know one time, not too long ago, where I had moved, in fact, I had moved to Colorado for a new job with a college. They wanted me to be the head of a new department that they were starting for at-risk college students. And I was very excited. It seemed to fit me very well. And I loved it. 2 months into this program, and I moved from Arizona to Colorado. My husband and I were looking to buy a house, and they began doing massive layoffs. And I was one of the ones that was let go.
Mm.
And during that day, it's very vivid to me. We all came in, everybody was in hushed tones because nobody knew who was going to be cut. And I kept thinking, well, last one in, first to go, probably. So I had a hunch I might be losing it. But you can't give up that, or you can't let go of that feeling of I failed. I didn't show how valuable I was, that they wouldn't let me go. So there was that feeling of failure. And there was a lot of, you would hear someone go into the office, they were taking people in one by one to let them know. And there would be slamming of doors, crying, yelling, all this little spurts of things happening in the office. And I got the tap on the shoulder and I went, oh boy. So I went into the office, and the manager was there and the vice president of the college was there, and they looked beat up. You can imagine, telling person after person. This was 2 weeks before Christmas. And they were telling person after person, pack up your stuff and go home. And I said to them, I looked at them, and all I could think about was how hard this must be for them. I get this conversation once and they're having to do it, I don't remember how many people, about 75 people were laid off that day. And I said, I just want to thank you for hiring me in the first place. I said, I love this job and I'm sorry to go, but thank you. And I shook their hands and I walked out, and I knew I would land on my feet one way or another. It's emotional, and I turned off my phone. I took the day off, and obviously I took the day off. I was fired. And so that evening when I turned my phone on, I saw a message from a number that I didn't expect. And I listened to it, and it was from a recruiter of another college. And they said, if you want a job with our college, you have it Monday morning. And they said, when your manager forwarded your resume to us, and we just felt that anyone that could be that gracious leaving a job would be amazing coming into a job.
Whoa.
So yeah, it was a real eye-opener that, whenever you're gracious, whenever you can think about the position the other person is in, you're going to make whatever the circumstance better. I did not expect to get another job that quickly. So
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
wonderful. What a
That
positive.
brought tears to my eyes. I'm like, that's miraculous.
An instant acknowledgement for being so positive. I mean, just I'd say like instant karma. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. That's
well,
awesome.
the funny thing about that, if you want to hear where it goes from there, I did take the other job, and I wrote that story up and submitted it to Chicken Soup for the Soul. They published it. Deborah Norville saw it, and she, out of the blue, her people called me and said, will you be on TV and tell that story? So I did. And that story, she put that out there as the woman that said, thank you for being fired. And I went, it's close.
That's funny. That's funny. I have one last question for you, Lindy.
Okay.
And that is, while you were writing your chapter for our book, did you learn anything about yourself? Did you like maybe one thing that you discovered about yourself while you were writing that chapter?
When I was writing Wrongs for From Us for You, I realized that you can take any situation and find something positive out of it, or create something positive from it. And I think that's really important. We can either let life happen to us, or we can become an integral part of making it a turning point, an aha moment. I'm so excited about this book because to me, it's all about those aha moments that change our lives incrementally by things that we discover. And so I think that's what I would sum it up with.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to be a part of this book and took the time to write a chapter. And I can't wait for people to read your chapter and everybody else's chapter. And they will have the opportunity to do that soon. So thank you for being with us today, Lindy. We'll really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. And please feel free to share the interviews with other people. If you'd like more information about the book, you can go to FromUsForYou.com and get all the details there. So thank you again, ladies, and have a very hopeful day.